Today, we are talking about the importance of the pregnant mother as a co-creator of the incarnating child, and the frequency of the pregnant mother. This is through the lens of the 57th gene key. So if you're interested in this, you're going to be interested in the gene keys, which is the story of our human evolution, our physical evolution as humanity, and our spiritual evolution. So today we're talking about the role of the pregnant mother and her frequency and how it affects the child, the developing fetus. So let's start with just a few quotes from the 57th gene key to get going. The mother is actually a co-creator of the incarnating child, and every thought, impulse, and feeling running through her being will direct the DNA within the fetus. And the mother's frequency directly dictates the destiny of the future human being. And it is important to realize how great a head start a child can get from elevated frequencies within the mother during pregnancy. So the mother is the first home of the child, and the first stage of development of every human being is from conception to age 7. That is the first stage of development that develops the physical body that sets you up for the rest of your life. And there is a way of looking at the 3 trimesters of pregnancy from the point of view of the gene keys, which is extremely interesting. So each of the 3 trimesters of pregnancy relate to the 7-year cycle of a child's development. The first cycle being conception to age 7 is where the physical body develops. Then the second trimester is for ages 7 to 14, where the emotional body develops. And then the third trimester is for ages 14 to 21, where the mental body develops. And this is where essentially, in other words, the 3 trimesters of pregnancy completely map out the first 21 years of life. And of course, no one is entirely a victim of the frequency of their mother. At any state in any of the developmental cycles, issues are going to rise to the surface in order that they may be embraced, purified, and healed. So that your own frequency rises, you will gradually heal the many layers of your inner being. So you're not completely at the will of your mother of pregnancy during your first 21 years of life. Things are going to happen, circumstances in your life, or of course, we have free will that is going to direct your healing from within. And that is the goal, that you take it upon yourself to reverse the attention currents inwards, back up to source, heal each chakra, heal your collective conditioning, and physically begin to heal and change your DNA. And it's just really putting an emphasis on the fact that this doesn't have to be detrimental, but rather you can set your child up for success. You can give them the best head start in life by having a high frequency during pregnancy. And the time for this information to really be embraced is now. There is a huge spiritual awakening. People are beginning to understand frequencies and energy more than ever before. And um, there is a big shift now in understanding that it's not just developmental patterns through conditioning and through behavioral, but rather a lot of this, the way that the children are being raised and shaped, it's on these subtle layers of the aura and through energetics of the parent onto the child, of the community onto the child. And this is becoming more widely accepted. It's not just psychological behaviors, but it's becoming accepted that this is energetic, this is subtle, and it is all frequency. Everything is frequency and energy. So let's take it back to our genes. And again, this is coming from the 57th gene key. So the genes build your body at the frequency of the energetic field in which your mother lives. Therefore, every mother plays a crucial role in the biological, emotional, and mental structure of the child. The mother is actually a co-creator of the incarnating child, and every thought, feeling, and impulse running through her being will direct the DNA within the fetus. This obviously puts a huge responsibility on pregnant mothers and has significant implications concerning the transformation of our species. And so it really is through this deep honoring of the mother and really accepting her true role during pregnancy that is going to begin to shape the planet from the inside out. And I believe we're finally at this place now where this is going to be truly accepted and embraced. And this is part of the restoration of the divine feminine. This is a part of our human spiritual evolutionary story. We are going to change the world through parenting by changing the world from the inside out and by getting the right people in the right places of power as the systems begin to break down and the structures begin to change over time. It could be decades, it could be hundreds of years that our physical systems and structures massively change. It's going to be through getting the right people in these high places of power. And then on the other hand, it's going to be parenting that we actually begin to change the world from the inside out and shape this golden age on earth. And the time is now. The time is right now. This is a part of our human spiritual evolutionary story. And so it's the mother that is shaping the DNA of the child and switching on their gift, their activated DNA from the moment of conception if she is spiritually aligned and able to embrace a peaceful pregnancy, which I understand not many people have this luxury, this God-given inherent, it should be a God-given inherent gift to every single woman to really embrace and honor and love and enjoy her pregnancy. And unfortunately, due to the state of the world in our society, it's quite unfortunately rare that women get to just embrace being this pregnant goddess, being in a high frequency state. But we can begin to embrace this. If you're pregnant, you can begin to embrace this because it's all about your reactions. It's how you're reacting to your inner and your outer environments that is really going to make the biggest difference. So the developing fetus lives in a world of frequency. It literally swims in and imbibes the tones, colors, sounds, emotions, thoughts, and intentions of its environment. Even so, the fetus interprets these frequencies through the mother's response to them. And thus, the mother's frequency directly dictates the destiny of the future human being. So, while many women can't control the societies or the state in which they are currently living or their current situation, they can control their reaction to what's going on around them. And that's the most important thing, is controlling your reactions and just controlling what you can possibly control, which is your reactions and the point of view, the way that you are viewing everything around you. And so this begins in conception with the mother, and then the child is born, the shape of their DNA, or sorry, um, the parents literally create the aura into which the child is born. So there's a huge responsibility on the pregnant mother. And then there is a huge responsibility on the parents because they create the living aura into which the child is born. And the child needs to feel safe in their physical body in order for them to relax into their natural internal harmony and unlock their inherent latent gifts, their supernatural abilities that exist within each and every one of us humans. You can truly set your child up for absolute success by creating a really harmonious and tactile and nurturing upbringing for your child. Then they don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of the alchemy in which our generation's doing, of changing and transforming our collective shadows into our gifts and embracing your gifts. Set your child up for success. Let them be born already with their gifts tuned on. That's what it means by allowing the DNA to fully shape into how it was meant to be during pregnancy. Because you can set your child up for success, have their genes already turned on to their crystalline DNA, have their gifts and their genius already tuned up and ready to go, rather than being born into these collective shadows into which all of us were born into. This is the next stage of our spiritual evolutionary unfolding. This is what these like quote indigo children or these crystalline children are. they're not from some other galaxy, they're not from some other crazy world being born. It's coming from our generation of pregnant mothers and parents already doing the work themselves before becoming parents, and during pregnancy and during parenthood, making these choices every day to alchemize your shadows into your greatest gifts. And then that is the aura into which your children live. They already live in the gifts. And so there is this huge responsibility on pregnant women, and there's a huge responsibility on her tribe and her community to create this environment in which she can relax into her own internal harmony, embrace being the pregnant goddess, and so that these children can be, these fetus can grow already with these crystalline DNA already activated. And so then the child is born and the parents shape the living aura into which they are born. And it's so important to create an environment in which you just let your children thrive into exactly who they were born to be, and try to steer away from this homogenous, monotonous education system, which wants to stamp out any creative genius and supernatural abilities within each and every one of these unique children being born. And we want to just create workers and stamp out this creative ability within each and every one of us through this monotonous education system. Try to steer away from that. I'm not saying don't let your child go to school, but I'm saying when they're outside of school or these traditional structures, you need to be doing whatever you can to nurture and support their wild, creative, natural genius and inherent gifts. And every single child is born with inherent gifts and genius already within them. And it's actually through the education system which stamps it out of them. And if you yourself are looking to unleash your gifts and your genius onto the world and you don't really know where to start, look at what was occurring for you when you were a child. Look at what your greatest gifts were, your greatest hobbies and interests and passions were when you were a child before it got stamped out of you. And it's never too late to unleash it onto the world. And so, just to recap, I think one of the most important things we're getting from the 57th gene key is this really powerful lesson, which feels so true in my heart and soul. I was just pregnant last year. I gave birth in October to my beautiful daughter. And being pregnant was such a wonderful, profound, it can only be described as magical experience. And what the 57th gene key says about the three trimesters and how it shapes the first 21 years of life feels so true. So I just want to share that again so that we can really understand this at a deep cellular level. And this is what it says in the 57th gene key. It says, each of the three trimesters of pregnancy relate to the three 7-year cycles of the child's development. The first being the physical, and the first 7-year cycle is from conception to age 7. That shapes your physical body and your physical health. The second trimester, which is now ages 7 to 14, is shaping your emotions and your emotional body. And that's also known as the astral body, which is a subtle layer of the aura. And then the third trimester is relating to ages 14 to 21, which is shaping the mental body. And so, in other words, in those first 9 months, the first 21 years of your life are completely mapped out. And just to reiterate again, no one is entirely a victim of the frequency of their mother, but if you want to look at it from a positive point of view, a positive perspective, if you are consciously pregnant, if you are looking to be a conscious parent, then you can really understand at a deep level just how powerful those 9 months really are for setting your child up to be a beautiful, abundant, healthy, magical, fulfilled, powerful, creative human being, like how being a human should be before the world where they messed it all up for us and try to take and hide our magic and our supernatural abilities. The real meaning of what it means to be a human, a supernatural human being with magical gifts, divine inspiration coursing through your being, pranic energy coursing through your being so in tune with Mother Nature's and the harmony of life and the cosmos and of Mama Gaia herself. the true magic and true power of what it means to be a human being. You can give your child this. They don't have to go their whole life and, have to transmute their collective shadows into the gifts in order to experience this. You can set your child up to already experience this from birth if we can truly honor the pregnant woman and support the pregnant woman so that she can lean into her own natural harmony, her internal harmony, and let Mother Nature do its thing. Let her body do its thing. Let spirit do its thing. Let source do its thing, working through her to shape the next generation. And this is how we're going to change the world from the inside out. If you're pregnant and you're experiencing stress or pressure or anything physical or emotionally draining or straining on you, please don't be hard on yourself or think that you're going to have a negative impact on your child. As long as you lead your life with love and you have an open heart and you do your best and you share your passions and your gifts with the world and you are experiencing creative fulfillment and passion, you are doing your part to give your child the best experience possible. Please don't feel upset or sad that you are negatively impacting your child if you're experiencing something emotionally heavy or burdensome. Please don't put any more emotional strain or stress on yourself thinking that you are doing something negative to your child. You're not. As long as you have an open heart and you're doing your best to raise your frequency out of the collective shadows into your gifts, and if you're doing your best to lead a life of love and open-heartedness and connection and oneness and beauty and power, you're doing the best you can. You're going to give your child an amazing head start into life. And then it all starts, the child's born, and then you and your partner, you and your family members will create the living aura into which your child is born. So it's never going to stop. I believe that parenting is an amazing way. Having children is an amazing way to speed up your soul development, um, to face all of your shadows that are just going to keep arising one after the other. New fears are going to keep showing their heads. And the moment that you embrace a fear and you integrate it and then you transmute it into the gift and you move on, another one is going to rear its head around the corner. And then that's life. You take it in stride. This is how you're going to continue to develop your soul, to elevate your DNA, and to blossom into the human being that you were born to be, to align to your energetic harmony, and to finally relax into your own internal rhythm and embrace your true self and unleash your magical gifts onto the world. Parenting is an amazing way to speed up your soul growth and your soul development. And just take that every single day and understand that and be grateful every single day that you have an opportunity to be a parent, to share this life with your children, with your family. Be grateful every single day that you get to be with your family, that you get to be here experiencing this beautiful life, that we get to be here in physical form with our loved ones, that we all chose to come to earth at this time so that we can experience Garden of Eden and this playground of life together and support each other and be here together. Just do so with an open heart and with so much gratitude. And so there is an amazing opportunity now on earth as more people are becoming awakened and activating their crystalline DNA. And then they're going to pass this along to their children in the womb as they're developing fetus. And then they're going to create a beautiful aura into which the child is born and nurturing and have a tactile, loving, and nurturing upbringing so that that child can unleash their gifts onto the world. We are changing the world from the inside out through parenting and through getting the right people into the right places of power. So if you are drawn to certain spiritual leaders right now that are working hard to get to high places of power, either politically or within companies that have huge influence on the world, that's something that you can do right now to have a positive impact on the world, is only support people and companies that are working towards the betterment of humanity. Look into projects, excuse me, look into projects that are having real world solve, that are run by people that are spiritually inclined and remembering oneness and returning to oneness and supporting Mama Gaia and humans evolution herself. Do your research and only support people and companies that are working towards the betterment of humanity. That's what we can do, as well as parenting and doing the work yourself to transmute your own shadows into your gifts. Remember what your true gifts were when you were a child and return to that and embrace that and impart that onto the world. Support your pregnant friends, support your partners, your pregnant families, support people with young children. We need community now more than ever. This is what the age of Aquarius is all about. Thank you so much for listening. I have a podcast. It's called 2027 Rhythmic Symphony Citic Consciousness, which is the third part of the threefold awakening sequence. According to the gene keys, we have 3 key years of massive vibratory shift of all life on this planet. The first one was 1987, the second was 2012, and the third is 2027, which is called the Rhythmic Symphony. It's also known as the reawakening of the solar plexus, where we jump permanently out of the lowest 2 chakras, out of shadow consciousness into our upper chakras, into our activated DNA. And this is also known as Atlantean awareness and Edenic awareness, where we can finally enjoy the Garden of Eden and return to oneness and harmony and love. So that is my podcast. I'm actually double recording for my podcast right now. Listen to that. Some of them are informational. They are also, like oracle readings that I have for the collective based in the gene keys, which is based in the Chinese I Ching and the human design system. And I also have some podcast episodes that are embodied activations where, they're like 20, 30 minutes. Listen or watch them outside, connecting to nature with guided meditation, breath work, and embodiment exercises based in current energy updates and intuitive astrology. Everything aimed at you to really harness whatever energy is currently, being blasted at Earth, and really how to work with these energies and harness them to help with your own spiritual evolution, thus helping with humanity's spiritual evolution. Thank you so much for listening. Sending so much love to you guys. And yes, thank you. Peace out.